to take on the Seattle Mariners. Welcome inside. Joe Davis, Nomar Garciaparra. Alana Rizzo joins us in a moment, and two teams that find themselves right in the middle of the races as we move through the middle part of August.
There was about a week ago, I was talking about the Dodgers when they're competing against the NL West, and I'm going, listen, they have to start thinking this is playoff baseball right now. Here we are, August 17th. They just finished a series with the Giants. They got back into it seems like, in the division hunt. We know how Colorado, we know Arizona, so the Dodgers have to have that mentality. Seattle Mariners in the same boat. They're also competing for the division. They just swept the Houston Astros. They're back in the thick of things for the division, so I think this is going to have a playoff atmosphere.
And a guy who's likely to play a picture in the playoffs if the Dodgers are to get there takes the ball tonight, Walker Buehler.
Walker Buehler has been one since he's been called up this year. Early in the season, has gotten better with every outing. Then he goes on the DL, comes back off the DL, and is getting better with every outing. He was outstanding over the last 3 starts, just a 1.4 ERA. He has been pitching so well. We know Clayton Kershaw is the ace of the staff. Well, who is number 2 of this staff? Well, Walker Buehler is making a case for it.
He, of course, is one of the hardest throwers in baseball. He'll face on the other side one of the softest tossers tonight in Wade LeBlanc. Let's go down to the field now, brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Here's Alana.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Major League Baseball has handed down a 2-game suspension to Dodgers right fielder Yasiel Puig for his involvement in the incident between the San Francisco Giants and, more specifically, Nick Hundley. Also a non-disclosed fine to both Puig and Hundley. However, Hundley was not suspended. Yasiel Puig is appealing the decision. He is available to play today, although he is not starting. Dave Roberts said that Wade LeBlanc has pretty even splits, and he's also run Yasiel Puig out there quite a bit. Expect him to play the next 4 games unless the suspension is upheld.
All right, Alana, quick 3-game series, quick 3-game road trip for these Dodgers. Game 1 against the Seattle Mariners coming up on a perfect night.
While you're making plans for a ski weekend this winter, make sure you show off your love for the Dodgers on the slopes. August 20th, when the Dodgers host the Cardinals, it's Knit Cap Giveaway Night presented by United Healthcare. free to the first 40,000 fans. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Tonight, the Dodgers in Seattle, where sometimes you do need a knit cap there because it can get a little chilly there at night, Ned. Dodgers 2 games back in third place behind Arizona. Give me one of the big keys for them to have success tonight.
Well, we know the offense has been struggling off and on. I think you got to get off to a good start. You got to be patient against Wade LeBlanc. He's gonna really kind of slow you down with that changeup. Got to be patient, have good at bats. You need the lead late because you don't want Diaz pitching in that game. You got to try and stay away from him if you can. Pitching Diaz is like the Dodgers pitching Jansen.
Well, you were the GM of the Dodgers 6 years ago, the last time they were there. What do you remember about that series at Safeco Field?
I remember getting no hit by 6 different guys. We couldn't get hit off 5 relievers and a starting pitcher. And then I remember Jay Hare hitting a 3-run homer the next day.
Yeah.
We only hear about it every 48 hours here. Now, 6 years later, it was a very historic moment.
Oh, yeah, he's got it on his phone. Just whips it out at any time. So, hey, you want to see my home run at Safeco Field? Here it is.
Career right there.
All right, Dodgers and Seattle Mariners, the first of 3 this weekend up there in Seattle. First pitch coming your way next.
In Seattle, just about set for first pitch of Game 1 between the Dodgers and the Mariners. The Dodgers, of course, right in the thick of things in this National League West race. Rockies already off and running, leading Atlanta in the late innings, trying to make it back-to-back wins to open that series. And Arizona, after beating San Diego in the opener last night, will get started in just a few minutes in their game. So the Dodgers 2 games out. Similar situation for Seattle. They sit 4.5 back of the Astros starting tonight, 2.5 behind Oakland, who it just seems like will not lose. The 2 tightest races in baseball, the NL West and the AL West. Here's the American League wild card picture. It looked for the longest time like it was New York for sure, and then who's going to be the second team, and that still may be the case, but the Yankees fading back to the pack some. Oakland and Seattle both getting very hot. But really a 3-horse race for those 2 spots over the final month and a half. Time to see the Dodgers starting lineup. It looks like this for Game 1 with Brian Dozier to lead things off, and then Justin Turner and Manny Machado. Cody Bellinger bats cleanup. Matt Kemp seems to be coming out of his slump. He'll do the DH and bat 5th with Kike Hernandez in right. Max Muncy at first base. Yasmani Grandal doing the catching, and Jack Peterson in left hitting 9th. Against Wade LeBlanc, who's 34 years old. He's spent most of spring training with the Yankees. They released him, signed a minor league deal with the Mariners, opened the season in their bullpen, moved into the rotation because of some injuries, and pitched so well, Nomar, that in early July he signed a contract extension for the first time in his 10 years in the majors.
Yeah, and you saw the numbers there below what he's done at home. He's got a 6-1 record with just a 3.5 ERA. He's been really, really good at home with a batting average against just over 200. The one thing, though, against the Dodgers in his career, he has a 1-7 record with an ERA over 4. But the last time he started against the Dodgers was until 2012.
A lot of those outings came when he was a Padre, which is really the only stop over his 10 seasons where he spent any significant time. That was most of the first 4 years of his major league career. Since then, he's bounced around between 6 different organizations and Japan for a year. Brian Dozier gets ready to bat. The Dodgers 4-8 over the last 2 weeks. Trying to get things headed in the right direction again. A month and a half left to go. And off we go with ball 1 from LeBlanc. Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Now the Mariners 5-2 over the last week. Dozier hits a fly ball to center field that sends Maben back onto the warning track for a long out, number 1. The ball does not fly particularly well here, especially to straightaway center where Dozier tested it. Up comes Justin Turner, and he's the subject of our Land Rover Performance Spotlight. How good has he been this month?
Oh, he's been outstanding. I mean, we're looking at the bright spots. One of the things that the Dodgers have been struggling, everybody's thinking it's just the bullpen, but the offense has been struggling just as much as the bullpen since Kenley's been out. But the bright spot has definitely been Justin Turner. Cody Bellinger has been outstanding this month, and bat that's starting to heat up as well as Manny Machado.
The waits on deck is Turner. Takes strike 1 from LeBlanc. Yeah, the Dodgers, Nomar, had that 21-run game on August 2nd. And while the headlines have been about the bullpen struggles, like you said, the offense is only averaging 3 runs per game since that night where they had the 21.
And some of the struggles that they've had, the late inning losses, guys getting interviewed afterwards, they always say we win as a team, we lose as a team. And it's really the case, even though you lose your closer in Kenley Jansen.
Turner floats one down the line, and in the right field corner, it's Mitch Haniger, 2 out.
Even with the loss of Kenley Jansen, you rely on your offense, too, to kind of help the bullpen out and maybe not put them in those situations, put some runs on the board, but they haven't been able to do that. So, obviously, those high leverage situations get magnified.
Manny Machado, 2 gone in a scoreless first inning. And it sure has been uncanny. The games have found the depleted Dodger bullpen. 7 games without Kenley Jansen. All 7 have come right down to the wire and tested that group.
It's like a position player going into a new position for the first time. All of a sudden the ball is finding you the whole game.
Yeah. A cutter for strike 1 on Machado. For the last 2 games has 4 hits and a few walks. And has looked as locked in as he has in a few weeks. Here on an 0-1 pitch, he takes it low. Soft bouncer left side. That's Corey's brother Kyle Seager throwing Machado out to finish the Dodgers off in order in the first. Walker Buehler to the mound when you come back. his 80-game suspension. Nelson Cruz just keeps on hitting at 38 years old. Span, Seager, and Healy with Maben, a new acquisition. Zunino and the old Dodger D. Gordon rounding things out against Walker Buehler, 24-year-old, coming off those 7 scoreless innings at Coors Field. And you mentioned it off of the top. His last 3 games, he's been awesome. A 140 earned run average. His first pitch of the night is a fastball at the knees at 95, strike 1.
And over those last 3 games, batting average against is under 200. Been really effective. Love watching him go out each and every time. It seems like he's just learning from his last outing and getting better.
Haniger punches one to second. The Dozier picks off, one gone. You know, we talk about the lack of offense lately and the bullpen struggling. Why don't we talk about a positive thing? This starting pitching over the last 7 games, a 1.66 collective ERA.
They really have been outstanding. They have given the Dodgers a chance to win in every single one of their starts. Last 7 games, they've been dominant. Rarely do you see the record, a type of record that they've had when you've had such good starting pitching. But in today's game, you know, the starting pitchers are going less and less deeper into the game, so you have to rely on those bullpens.
A strike on Cano. Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about that before the game, but overall this year, the Dodgers have the #1 staff ERA as far as starting staff. It used to be you'd see that, and that team was probably first or second as far as best record in the league. But that was when starters accounted for close to 70% of innings pitched. Now it's closer to 50-50.
Right, and then I wonder when that. I mean, how many years we go back, and you can definitely see that start changing. But when you're leading the ERA as starters concerned, it used to be, yeah, that team was lights out. Everybody was going. They would come into a series, and you go, gosh, we see if we can knock them out, because we got to get to the bullpen, because if we don't, they're going to close the game out, and the bullpen's going to have a rest this entire series.
1-2 on Cano. Third game back for Cano after the 80-game suspension. And so Robinson Cano will not be eligible if the Mariners are to make the postseason and snap the longest postseason drought in baseball right now. Have to go back to the 2001 year to find their last postseason trip. That said, they're thrilled to have him back. They feel like he may be the difference as they try to make that push towards the postseason. He looks at strike 3 at 97, 2 up and 2 down.
Then Walker Buehler just comes out of the straight heater. Cano knew it. Looking for something else. Didn't think that was going to be right there. Hittable pitch. It's hard to make that adjustment when it's coming that hard.
And you're coming off 80 games and not playing. Here's Cruz with an opposite field base hit. Hernandez thought about it, didn't he?
I tell you what, he would have had a chance.
Muncy didn't go to the bag, though.
And that ball was hit hard. Nelson Cruz not wasting any time. Just getting right after, drives it. But look at this. I mean, he had a chance right there. We know Kike has a great arm, too.
And the kind of personality to pull the trigger on.
Yeah. Even Nelson Cruz gave him a look out there. He thought about it.
And he kept alive for Denard Span. Dodger fans familiar with Span from his time in San Francisco, where he really struggled as he dealt with injuries. Span was traded in the Evan Longoria deal this offseason to Tampa Bay. Spent the first 2 months there. And it's been fantastic since coming to the Mariners in late May. On a 1-0 pitch, muscles one towards short. Manny Machado ends the inning. Off and rolling on a gorgeous night in Seattle. The Dodgers and Mariners scoreless after 1. over the last couple of weeks, leading baseball over his last 13 games.
Swinging such a hot bat, staying on the ball. Bat seems to be staying in the zone a lot longer, not really just in and out, pulling off of the ball. We've seen him going the other way as well. He's feeling it right now. Stay right there, and hopefully it'll be contagious for the rest of the team.
And an 0-1 from Wade LeBlanc. He takes it low, 1-1. And you hear the first "Let's Go Dodgers" chant start to rain down here at Safeco, and the Mariners fans try to drown that out with some boos. They're going to have to work hard to drown it out because there is a lot of Dodger blue here. Strike two.
You and I were talking about that before the game. We were looking at it as the fans were rolling into this game. We're like, there is a lot of blue behind that Dodger bench over there on the third base side. And it's not just right behind the dugout. It goes to the second deck. It goes all the way down to the left field line.
Yeah, you don't have that one central section like a lot of times you do with Pantone 294. Although Alana tells us Pantone 294 is up here this weekend.
They got a lot of help for whatever they need, because there's a lot of Dodger blue out there. I was actually on the radio doing a local radio station earlier today, and they were actually talking about how the city, that they saw a lot of blue just walking around in this city.
Cody Bellinger leading off this second, fouling it back. On one side tonight, you've got one of the hardest throwers in the game in Walker Buehler. And then in the case of Wade LeBlanc, the single softest tosser in baseball at 86 miles per hour on average with his fastball. He's effective with his changeup and his cutter. Bellinger knocks one through the shift, base hit. The Dodgers have their first base runner of the night here to lead off the second.
That was an example of what we were talking about, Cody Bellinger, how that bat is staying in the zone a lot longer, not just pulling off of it, just one big swing, how he stayed on. Yeah, he may have had to lunge out of that, but we know the timing might be a little off with Wade LeBlanc because he throws so slow, so you really have to stay on it. He did, gives himself a chance and gives a nice base hit.
And it gets Matt Kemp up there. What was that like facing some of the softer throwers? I know you faced LeBlanc a few times, but Jamie Moyer, somebody who you faced a bunch and similar.
Yeah, it's one of those you really got to tell yourself, especially righty going against a lefty, stay on the ball, think right field. And you'd still pull them, but that's just more of a natural instinct. But you can really stay on the ball. If I'm thinking pull, I have a tendency to just pull off of it because they're such soft throwers, and they're feeding off of that. They're going to feed off your aggressiveness. So staying on the ball, especially with that changeup that's tailing away to a righty, think about going the other way.
Started Kemp with a cutter. Goes inside with it. It's 1-1. Kemp coming off his best offensive game, production wise at least, in a long time. 2 hits and a walk on Wednesday night. Matt says he doesn't think he's ever been through a stretch like the one that he's been in lately. Well, he's had plenty of slumps during his career. The fact that he's not struck out a ton during this stretch, and so there's been a lot of balls in play, so that can kind of mess with your head. When you're swinging and missing, very clearly there's just something totally out of whack. When you're still putting it in play and not getting results, said he can tend to overthink it, and it becomes more of a mental battle than anything. It's ahead here, 3-1.
And you've got an excellent point. Yes, that could drive you crazy. A lot of times you're going, well, at least I can go in there and there must be something mechanical because I'm swinging and missing an awful lot. Let's make that adjustment. And then it just gives you something to think about, just one thing to focus on, and then be confident. But when you're hitting the ball or putting it in play, you're not striking out. You're like, what is it? Am I chasing it? Am I 2 out in front? Is it my timing? There's so many things you start thinking about.
He's got Bellinger at first, open this second, and on a payoff pitch from Wade LeBlanc. Matt Kemp strikes out. First of the night for LeBlanc. And we go down to Alana.
There are some Pantone 294 fans in attendance so far, Joe, but really the big group is coming tomorrow. They're expecting 1,300 people, taking over the better part of 6 different sections here for the second game of this series. So a lot of other Dodger fans here already that are not necessarily associated with the best traveling fan base in the country, but some Pantone 294, some just other Dodgers fans.
6 sections tomorrow. There's Hernandez with 1 out.
They're going to need a bigger flag.
Yeah. Might not be able to get it through the door. You know what's great about it, besides the obvious of having a lot of blue and a lot of fans cheering for the Dodgers, is it tends to elevate the entire environment because it tends to spark the home fans.
Most definitely.
Ball on Kike, who is familiar with the longitudinal study comparing his output based on how tight his pants are. He claims that it has as much to do with the socks and the stirrup look that he has right here as it does the pants tightness. 2 hits the other night. He says it's thanks to the stirrups.
And that wasn't in the study. The socks weren't a factor in the study. It was specifically the pants, which that in and of itself was an impressive study. But so that's going to be a whole nother one just on the socks.
Back to the lab.
Yep.
Generous outside edge there. Mike Estabrook calling balls and strikes tonight. It's 1-1.
And that's where LeBlanc wants to live. I mean, that is way out there, and that was very generous. That's something you got to start talking about back in the dugout and check with, like, did you just miss it, or if he's going to stay out there? And you hope he doesn't give him the inside if he's going to stay out there.
1-2.
And that's the adjustment. Oh, once you're going through the lineup, that's one of the adjustments you start talking about in the dugout. You know he's a guy who wants to go on the outer half. But if the umpire's giving him, then you're going to have to start creeping up on the plate and start saying, okay, I'm going to have to get on there. And you really don't fear, because if he doesn't throw that hard, because you don't feel like he's going to jam you, you just react on the inside. Big swing there by Kike. I mean, that ball was right down the middle. That was a mistake by LeBlanc. Upset with himself that he wasn't able to make contact with that one.
Bellinger started the inning with a single. Kemp struck out, and now Hernandez slaps it to second, where Robinson Cano shovels to D. Gordon. That's all they'll get. D. Gordon tonight playing shortstop for the first time this season. Hasn't been a full-time shortstop since he was with the Dodgers several years ago.
Cano, just one thing, when he plays second base, he makes it just look so easy, really casual. Throws that off to the side, and then D. Gordon back over there at short. I mean, for the Mariners, came over here. They signed him to play center field. Started off as their center fielder, and then Cano gets the suspension. He goes to second base.
Here's Muncy. Strike 1.
And now that Cano was back, now they're talking about just moving the guys all around. No, played maybe third and first. D. Gordon obviously short, like we just talked about, first time since he was a Dodger. He'll still be back out there center, play some second base. Just showing that versatility.
Reason he's at short tonight, Gene Segura, who's an all-star for the Mariners and has been one of their best players, is on paternity leave. Breaking ball, and it's 0-2. LeBlanc with a long pause now deals and gets Muncy swinging to finish the Dodgers in the second.
game. Kyle, better known as Corey's brother. Now, these two have never played against one another at the big league level. This is video from a spring training game in which the Dodgers and Mariners met. Of course, Corey Seager out for the year with the Tommy John surgery and recently hip surgery. I ran into his parents, Jeff and Jody Seager, earlier today, who were in town to visit with Kyle, and they said Corey Seager really wanted to make the trip to visit with his family, but that recent hip surgery, the flight pretty uncomfortable, guys, as you might imagine, having the surgery in New York, even uncomfortable getting back to LA, so he thought better of it to continue and just try to get better. But these two have never faced one another.
Now, one of these days, next time these teams meet up will be 3 years from now. Meeting for the first time since 2015 tonight. For the first time in this ballpark since 2012. 1 ball, 1 strike on Seager. This is Kyle's Players Weekend jersey last weekend. Corey's brother. Remember,
that was great.
Corey just went with Seager. 2-1. Kyle having a rough go of it this year. It's been the worst offensive season of his career. 30 years old now. It's one of the guys that's really been hurt by the increase in shifts across baseball. And then lately it's been a constant adjustment to try and tweak his swing to beat the shift. He's just not been able to find consistent results. He strikes out on a fastball that tails in there at 97. Buehler's second of the game, 1 gone.
That's one thing that Buehler gets with that fastball up in the zone. He will get that swing and miss. Hard to get on top of a 97-mile-an-hour fastball on top of the zone. And even when it's out of the zone, at the top of the zone.
1 out with Ryan Healy. Scores second inning. 2 teams playing all important games the rest of the way. That one gets away from Walker. Ball 1. These Mariners at 70-52, which is a heck of a record, but in 3rd place in their own division. 70-52 would give them a 3-game lead in the National League West. But instead, they're 4.5 back in the American League West. Their manager, Scott Service. Mid-June, with that 44-24 record, they were in 1st place. They've been below 500 since then and had kind of faded from the conversation before that huge 4-game sweep in Houston as part of the road trip they just came off of. 2-1. It's fouled back 2-2.
It's amazing when you look at numbers or they talk about what would you like to be that magic number of victories before the season starts. You're going, oh, you know, 90, 91, whatever it may be that you're thinking, okay, that'll be good. We'll win the division. That isn't always the case. That's why I know we get asked those questions, as we ought to, pregame shows prior to that. What do you think is going? How many wins do you think the Dodgers will have this year? I'm like, I don't know. All I care is it's one more than the 2nd place team, right? I mean, that's really it, because you just never know how that year is going to pan out and how the race is going to be, or there's parity or whatever it may be.
2-2. Buehler gets him swinging with a slider for out number 2. Hard to believe that it's been since that record-setting 2001 year that the Mariners have gone to the postseason. 116 wins that year. We're going through the names on that roster today. Star-studded.
Yes. They were, and just looked like they had that mentality when they showed up that, oh, you're not going to beat us. We're going to win. Like a loss when they lost and he was on that team there, Edgar Martinez. It was like they were shocked when they lost.
Strike 1 on Cameron Maben. That was Ichiro's rookie season. Soft ground ball left side. Going to be a tough play for a barehanded Machado. Maben runs well and beats it out.
That's really a tough play for Machado. You see Justin Turner, he was going to go for it. That was really the only chance, is if Justin Turner could reach it. Justin Turner realized he couldn't reach it. And sometimes what he did was the best thing you can do, is just kind of stop, because if you go for it, you have a tendency or a chance to maybe clip off your glove. You know the shortstop's going, and that goes in the outfield. And it's not only just a hit, but possibly he's able to get to second. So he just let Manny Machado go for that one.
So up comes Mike Zunino. Good power hitter, but as you saw, one of the lowest averages in the American League at 199. Mariners as a team averaging less than 4 runs per game over the last couple months. So they were counting the days down for Robinson Cano to come back. Just trying to survive. That was after they held their heads above water pretty well, and actually excelled in the first month or so with Cano out. It started to catch up to him. Offense struggled. Starting pitching came back to earth a little bit. Maben in first with 2 gone, and fielder to the plate, 1-1. That's strike 2.
Well, what's really kept them afloat is how well they've played in 1-run games. They have an incredible record, the top's record with regards to 1-run games. And then also a lot of that contributes to also their back end of their bullpen. Their back end of their bullpen is outstanding, especially their closer. They have a Dodgers know what it's like to have a great closer, and understanding, especially with Kinley out right now. But their closer, Edwin Diaz, lights out.
47 out of 50. The Mariners, when they get to the 8th inning, or get to the 9th inning, so through 8 with the lead, they're 59-0.
Yeah. That's an incredible stat.
Zunino lays off. Count goes full. Maben to get a head start. Moral of the story, Nomar, you better not go into the 9th inning trailing in this series. There he goes. Here it comes. Buehler gets his 3rd strikeout of the inning, and his 4th through 2. No score to the 3rd in Seattle.
By purchasing a 3-game mini plan, if the Dodgers win all 3 games you picked, you'll win tickets to Fan Appreciation Day, be recognized on the field, and get a specially designed Good Luck Charm t-shirt. Visit Dodgers.com/mini-plans.
Now Smiley Grandal to lead off this third against Wade LeBlanc, whose first pitch is in there for a strike. 8-9-1 for the Dodgers. Grandal had the double, came in to score the winning run on Wednesday night. It's a high drive to deep left center field. Span running out of room. Grandal has broken the tie with a home run to start the third. And he does it from the right side of the plate for just the second time out of his 21 bombs in 2018.
Well, we talked about staying on the ball with the velocity that Wade LeBlanc. If you think about staying on it, you're going to be able to turn on it, especially if he comes in and that ball coming on the inner half. Grandal doing a good job keeping his head down on the ball, putting a good swing on it, driving it out to left field.
And bringing up Jock Peterson. Dave Roberts has talked about how he's continued to like Grandal's swing from the right side. There's a reason why he's seeing more and more time against left-handed pitching. Strike one on Peterson. He makes his first start since last Friday. Jock flips one to left center field. Easy play, Denard Span for the first out. It's a tough thing here, the stretch the Dodgers are going through, where at least 5 out of 6 games, because the Mariners have scratched Marco Gonzalez on Sunday, moved him back. At least 5 out of 6, depending on who they choose, maybe 6 out of 7 left-handed starters. And so with the platoon setup the Dodgers use at a lot of spots, guys like Jock Peterson are finding the playing time hard to come by over this last week. Here's Brian Dozier taking strike one.
And it's really interesting too. I'm curious to see if Dave Roberts starts going to a plan where maybe just putting more lefties in rather than going away from that platoon and think about who's swinging the bat and go with the hot hitters. I thought he was going to do that for a while with Jock Peterson. For a while was just swinging a hot bat, and then he ended up sitting because they had a stretch of lefties. But when you look at what the Dodgers have done against lefties, they haven't fared well against the lefties this year. Looks like the Dodgers of a few years ago when they really struggled against lefties. So with that being said, it's like, okay, maybe go with the hotter bat, and guys not even worry about the whole lefty-righty situation, and put the lineup and just guys hopefully get good at bats and try to put some runners on.
And the reason you're seeing at least Peterson in there tonight is those numbers we just showed you. Wade LeBlanc is a reverse splits guy. Actually more difficult on right-handed hitters, largely because of that changeup of his. But yeah, the Dodgers over the last month plus below 200 as a team against southpaws. One of the reasons they traded for this guy, Brian Dozier, takes low 2-2.
Good that the Dodgers are on a quick 3-game road trip, because I think they have to sew his white jersey together after they tore it off him out.
Got him swinging. Third K for LeBlanc. Out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. First thing I thought of when I saw the hometown was season 1 of True Detective.
I heard that's a great show, and I haven't been able to see an episode yet.
Definitely worth binge watching. Season 1 only. Stop there.
Got it.
Here's Turner with 2 out. We'll double check. LeBlanc is not the Yellow King. Watch it, you'll get it. Turner trying to extend a 10-game hitting streak. Touchdown and away, 2 balls, no strikes. Hitting above 400 during that stretch. Some of the best numbers in the National League. On this 2-0. Pulls a ground ball to third for Kyle Seager. That's the inning. But the Dodgers start the scoring on the 21st home run of the season from Yasmani Grandal to the last of the third in Seattle. Into the bottom of the third. And the old Dodger, D. Gordon, to lead this inning off. He takes ball one from Walker Buehler. An old Dodger and an old kid running around the clubhouse in your Boston days with his dad, Tom.
That he was. We were talking about before the game.
That's caught by Machado. Nice play by Manny for the first out.
I was talking about, it was like good to see D. Gordon. I go, it's hard to believe. I go, I remember when he would run around the clubhouse, him and his brothers, playing with his dad, and it made me go, oh, I'm old.
Was he as high energy then? Same type bouncing off the wall, you know, personality?
No, they were all, Flash had good kids. They're all good kids that would come in and so respectful in the clubhouse. They were great.
Second time through the order against Buehler. Just 2 singles against him so far. It's Mitch Haniger, who pops the first pitch into shallow right. Dozier runs under it and drops it. Can he recover in time? No. That's an error on Dozier.
This is something we have not seen in that Dodger uniform. Brian Dozier has been so sure-handed, has made some outstanding plays, has played wonderful defense. And then you just see Buehler like, no, I think everybody's shocked. I mean, he had a beat on it. Dozier would just say, I just missed it. It was in my glove, and I dropped it. Now it's up to Walker Buehler to see if he can help out his teammate.
Against the teeth of the order. A future Hall of Famer, likely, with a man at second and 1 out and a 1-0 game. Robinson Cano takes ball one. Not just the heart of the order, but an 8-time All-Star, followed by a 6-time All-Star, Nelson Cruz. So Buehler's really going to have to earn his way out of this jam. Ball's behind Cano, 2-0. Well, Cano, during the 80-game suspension, spent the last month and a half or so back in the Dominican Republic, where he's from. His father runs a baseball academy there. So Robinson went back to his dad's academy and tried to get back into playing shape. Buehler gets in on his hands, 2-1.
A spot for Walker Buehler. You just have to regroup. I mean, you know you're getting the heart of the lineup coming up, and you're thinking, great, I'll face them when I got 2 outs. But now you find yourself the guy in scoring position based on that error. And I know it's frustrating. You can see that. But this is where you got to say, OK, take a moment, regroup, and really now buckle down and come up with some big pitches where it's not an error. Let's just say, hey, there's a man on second. However he got there, I got to make my pitches here.
During this 3-game run where he's got that 1.40 ERA, he's been exceptional at doing just what you're talking about. There has been traffic. He's been able to pitch around it. Here's his 2-1. Gets it by him, 2-2. Little different than the pitching at Dad's Academy in the Dominican. Little different than the minor league rehabs. 3rd game back now for Cano. Haniger at second, 1 out, 2-2. Misses away, and the count goes full.
Just wondering if he was back there going, hey, Dad, want to throw me some BP and we can reminisce about the home run derby and winning it when you were throwing to me?
It's been quite the career. Payoff pitch. Just misses. First Buehler walk, 1st and 2nd for Cruz.
Well, he gets him looking at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in his last at bat, and this one doesn't get the corner. It was just off the corner. Doesn't get the call. We've seen home plate umpire Mike Estabrook call the opposite corner with Wade LeBlanc. Sometimes you have umpires that call more one side of the plate than the other.
Haniger at second, Cano at first for Cruz, who punched a single through the right side his first time. 30 home runs this season. That's top 5 in the American League. And since he became an everyday big leaguer a decade ago, he's hit more home runs than anybody. On a 1-0 pitch, he takes ball 2. Fouls it off, 2-1. He's 38 years old now, in his 14th major league season, and there's just not been any let up. And he's averaging 33 homers, 91 RBIs as a full-time player. And you look at the numbers here in mid-August, he's already at 30 homers. He's top 10 in the league at 77 driven in.
He doesn't lead his team in RBIs. He's second behind Haniger, their leadoff hitter.
3-1. Span on deck. No hits in this inning, but the Aaron Dozier opening the door for Seattle. Dangerous pitch coming from Buehler. Breaks it off perfectly for strike 2.
Dangerous, but great. That was a perfect pitch. Breaking ball right on the corner, down in the way. If you can do that again. Wow. can throw that pitch again, he'll get the same result. If he can hit that spot again, he'll either get the same result or it'll be a ground ball, possible double play ball.
Yeah, one thing Cruz does not do well is run. 3-2. Fastball. Runs inside. Ball 4. They're loaded.
Grandal was doing everything he can to try to frame that ball and get the call. Pitchcast had it inside. Like we said, we've seen him give the opposite corner more off the plate call the strike compared to that side of home plate.
Honeycutt for a visit. So now Haniger at third, Cano at second, Cruz at first. And Denard Span coming up. You might be looking at the Mariners lineup and saying, wait a minute, Denard Span as the cleanup hitter? Well, Span has earned it. 476 over his last 8 games. And here's a 35-year-old having the best year of his career.
You mentioned since that trade, batting over 300 since putting on that Mariner uniform.
A little touch of gray in that beard, telling some of his story. 11 major league seasons for the former first-round pick. Long time ago, 16 years ago, he was drafted in the first round. He takes ball 1 from Buehler. Key spot early on in this one. Buehler's lost it. 2-0. Bases loaded in the third. A 2-0 pitch. Ground ball to first. Muncy comes home. It's dug out by Grandal for the force out. Not a great throw by Max Muncy, but Yasmani Grandal, who's had his fair share of problems receiving throws recently, able to make this one cleanly to keep it 1-0.
You're right, Joe. And Yasmani Grandal comes up with this as we have a look at as Carl's Cam Muncy. That was the right play. Momentum. Just looking for a better throw. And even if it was a good throw, I don't know if Muncy really had, I mean, if Grandal had a play anywhere else, because Dozier was playing up the middle more and it would have been tough for him to get to first. But nonetheless, Yasmani Grandal picking him up, making a fine play. Now it's important for Walker Buehler here to still bear down. Not out of the inning yet. Make some quality pitches.
Struck out Kyle Seager his first time, and he gets strike 1 on the pitch that he got strike 3 with against Seager back in the second. That high fastball. Very good in his career with the bases loaded. That includes a grand slam this season. Set for the 0-1. Strike 2. Back-to-back fastballs.
Great pitch at the top of the zone. Hitting that right before this at bat. He was missing obviously with the base on balls, but they were really big misses as well. That one. Great spot.
One and two. Cano at third, Cruz at second, Span at first. And Walker Buehler to Kyle Seager with a 1-2. High drive right center field. Bellinger drifting back. He's got it on the edge of the warning track to finish the Mariners in the third. And Walker Buehler out of the jam to keep it 1-0. Southern California BMW Centers. Hurry in today to the BMW Summer On Sales event for exceptional offers. Details at SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Try something different like Jack's Teriyaki Bowls. Only at Jack in the Box for a limited time. Back in this wonderful city, Seattle, Washington, where the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead and a Grandal home run. Joe, Nomar, and Alana, hope your weekend's off to a great start. Part of the Dodger lineup against Wade LeBlanc here in the fourth with Manny Machado to lead things off. LeBlanc's first pitch of the fourth is lifted to left. That ball's way back there and gone. First pitch of the fourth inning. Manny Machado leaves the building, and the Dodgers lead at 2-0 and a pair of solo shots.
Starts him off with a breaking ball. Out in front just a little bit, but he keeps the weight back enough, keeps his head down on it, able to get the barrel down in the zone, scoops it up and drives it out of the left field wall.
Third long ball with the Dodgers. 27 total this season.
Coming in, Manny Machado has had 11 home runs on breaking balls this season, which was tied for second most in the major leagues. Well, he just added to that total on that one.
A strike on Bellinger. Who has the only Dodger hit today that didn't leave the yard. One and one. Well, he started squaring him up during the homestand against San Francisco. Hitting line drives all over the place. Elevates this one. And gets it just over the wall and left. Bellinger hits it foul, and it's 1-2. You knew it was a matter of time with a guy like Manny Machado.
Well, you saw the swings, the progression of his swings, and over that San Francisco series, looking at it, even prior to his last game where he got a couple hits, when he was lining out, and you're going, uh-oh. They're not uh-oh, but the opposing team's going uh-oh, because it was there. And it was one game. It was the second game against San Francisco when you saw that. And you're like, okay, is that just one game he's going to carry through? And then you saw him do it again in the next game, and you're like, that's where he needs to be.
The stages of a slump, right? Coming out of it. 2-2. Down the line, foul.
Yep, you have your struggles. And then you look at how you feel in the batter's box. Then it's solid contact. And it's solid contact, and not even if you, doesn't matter what the result, it's about like, okay, squaring it up. And then you're going, what was the pitches I was doing and how did I feel? Did I recognize those pitches as I was making solid contact? And then you go in there with confidence, say, okay, the results will come, I just need to stay right there.
Another 2-2 pitch, and Bellinger sprays it foul again. Two. Third consecutive foul ball. One of 3 left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight. Muncy and Peterson also in there against the left-handed LeBlanc, who we mentioned has been a little bit better against righties. Here he gets Bellinger. Strikeout number 4, 1 gone in the 4th. We look back at the home run from Machado on StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
That comes in. We talk about how effective he's been on the breaking ball, how he goes down and drives it approximately 382 feet over the left field wall.
So I think he's officially out of his slump. Kemp trying to make that statement too. Down on strikes his first time though. Fouls this one off. Kemp says that as he's going through what he calls, again, the worst stretch of his career, says the only way he knows how to battle out of slumps is to just swing until you can't swing anymore. And you find something each day, working early in the cage. You take it into the game that night and hope that that's the night that it clicks. He flips this one into left center field, and he's 1 for 2. And the interesting thing is, Tuesday night he rips the ball several times into outs. Wednesday night breaks his bat a couple times and gets hits like this, but he'll take it.
Well, we always say you hear they even out. As a hitter, you say they never even out. Pitchers say that, oh, they even out, because it's usually against them, but no, they don't as a hitter. So you always feel like you have more lineouts than you have balls that fall in that way. But you take him any way you can when you're in the midst of a struggles, and trust yourself. And that's one thing Matt Kemp has been able to do and has done.
Hernandez swings and misses, 0-1. And he said the thing that's helped him through this is that, well, again, he's had plenty of slumps throughout his career like every player does. This one comes on a team that can survive it because there's so many other good hitters, whereas the last few years it's been on losing Atlanta and San Diego teams. Hernandez with a fly ball off the end of the bat to Maben in center, and anytime the slumps happened for him there, it became the headline. Braves lose again because Kemp goes 0 for 4 again, or whatever it would be on a given night, whereas in this case it kind of gets hidden more.
But yeah, and you start pressing. I mean, when you seem like you're not only just a headline, or you're in the middle part of the lineup and you feel like the offense has really just relied on you, or the majority of the runs have come because you've been an impact in the middle of that lineup, then you go through a slump. Yeah, you have a tendency to press and magnify that slump even more.
Once he struck out his first time, and here takes strike 1. He said bottom line, he just loves winning. extra hard when you're going through those long stretches and coming to the park 20 games out of first place or whatever it may be, like he often was in San Diego and Atlanta. Rejuvenated back in Dodger blue. Oh, 2 pitch. Ball 1. Drive to right. Muncy turning on this one and sending it out of here. A 2-run shot makes it 4-0.
His last at bat, he throws back-to-back breaking balls and gets him swinging and missing and striking him out. Here he gets him a breaking ball, but he hangs it at the top of the zone, and Muncy does not miss, stays on it, and hits a towering home run to right field.
3rd home run of the night for the Dodgers through 4 innings against LeBlanc. First of them came from this guy Grandal, who takes strike 1. Now strike 2. Turner doing his best Max Muncy impression. One and 2. Wade LeBlanc had a great season for him overall, and over the last 2 months he's had 4 games where he's pitched at least through 7 and given up 0 or 1, but he's also had 5 games and now 6 where he's given up at least 4. A little bit boom or bust over the last couple months. A 2-2 to Grandal. Little bit inside. He's got to throw another with a 3-2 count. Dodgers, by the way, this season when they hit 3 home runs in a game, 19-0. That's a walk to keep this inning alive. First LeBlanc walk tonight. And up comes Jock Peterson. Now LeBlanc, many times early on in his career where he thought he was close to being done. And he says that if you had asked him at any point in his time in San Diego, which was 2008 through 2011, you'd asked him then if he thought he had a chance to still be pitching at 34. If he was being honest with you, he would have said no. I don't think I'm still going to be in the majors then, let alone signing a contract extension at age 34. Go to 2011, 8 times he was sent to AAA by the Padres. And thought that might be it. And then again in 2014 couldn't find any suitors after he had bounced around from organization to organization to organization over a couple-year stretch. Went to Japan, struggled there, didn't figure that anybody else would want him back in the big leagues. Got an opportunity again with Pittsburgh. And they made this Mariners roster the final days of spring training. Pours in a strike to Jock Peterson. Can't lay off. 0-2. Smacks one to short, and the inning ends for the Dodgers with a pair of home runs. First pitch of the inning, Manny Machado digs out a breaking ball and serves it over the left field wall. And then Muncy climbs the ladder for one. A 2-run shot that makes it 4-0 to the bottom of the fourth.
Well, stay tuned tonight for an all-new Backstage Dodgers as we take a look back at Justin Turner and Chase Utley's off-season adventures in Dubai, where they toured the tallest building in the world and learned to play cricket. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Cadillac, right after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
Machado and Muncy both with home runs in the top of this inning. The Dodgers lead at 4-0 as Walker Buehler gets strike one on Ryan Healy. Buehler 4 Ks through 3 and was able to pitch out of a bases loaded jam in the third. Healy, one of those strikeout victims, bangs one the other way. Hernandez to the warning track, to the wall, bounces over and gone. Opposite field home run, his 23rd.
Wasn't that bad of a pitch by Walker Buehler. Yes, they wanted it down in a way, but he gets it away still. It was on the outer half. So if you're going to miss your spot, at least he missed it away off the plate. Healy does a good job just staying on that and driving it, and it barely gets out as it hits the top of the wall.
Now it's Cameron Maben taking a big rip and missing. Healy, a West Hills native. Came over from Oakland during the offseason. Now it's Maben shooting it foul, and it's 0-2. Maben, a deadline acquisition from the Miami Marlins, now in his 12th year. Similar to their pitcher tonight, Wade LeBlanc, Maben's been everywhere. 8th different team in his 12 seasons. And his 4th over the last calendar year. Angels, Astros, Marlins, Mariners. 0-2. One around. Fifth punch out for Buehler. One gone in the fourth.
Good job to come back and get that strikeout for Walker Buehler. You know, your team gives you a 4-run lead. You don't want to go out there, especially after that last inning where he probably had a stressful inning and he had to pitch out of traffic and did an excellent job. But then they put up 3-spot that last inning for you. You don't want to come in walking anybody. You got to tip your hat to him that gets the ball on the outside and get a home run. Now just come back, keep pounding the zone and attacking these hitters.
And they're attacking the top of the zone against Mike Zunino. Struck out his first time and is the single worst high fastball hitter in baseball this year. 1 for 54 against elevated fastballs. He just misses. 1-1. Slider caught the corner. 1-2.
We were asking before about getting that on that side away from righties on the outer half. We saw LeBlanc get a couple of pitches out there. We saw that one as we look at PitchCast where it was off and Buehler getting that. You're like, okay, that's just something that keep in the back of your head. If that's one where I can maybe possibly just go off the plate, maybe a little bit, see if I can still keep exposing it.
Strike 3 call. Back to that same tunnel, that same lane. 2 gone.
They wanted it up, and it wasn't that as high as he wanted to. But we were talking about also missing it, or if he was going to miss, at least they're off the plate. That was a miss, and he gets the call.
Rocks and fires to D. Gordon, lined out to short his first time. D takes a curveball away. 1-0. Gordon has 2 home runs this year. Homered on the 3rd day of the season, and then he homered in the 12th inning of a scoreless tie against Oakland in their last game. 2 balls, no strikes. Not just his first home run since day 3, but his first RBIs in a month. And a huge game for Seattle. You know, they had that 4-game sweep in Houston. And then they go to Oakland, the other team that they're chasing, lose the first 2. It's almost like they're right back to where they started before stealing that last one in extras. 2-1.
That Houston series was huge for Seattle. I mean, they put them right back in it. It was a boost of confidence.
And then they went to Oakland, and here's the home run we're talking about, his second of the season. He kissed the biceps afterwards. And the reaction of his teammates, really? D. Gordon, huh? They're watching closely on the scoreboard tonight. Houston and Oakland opening a 3-game series head-to-head. Astros have a 1-0 lead in that game in the 5th. On an Alex Bregman homer. Buehler's 2-2. Mariners are 4.5 back in the division. That's behind Houston. They're 2.5 back for the second wild card. That's Oakland.
I was looking at the defense. You see Justin Turner over there at third base. This way he's playing like on the grass or right there with D. Gordon, because you got to be aware of the bunt. Even 2 strikes, you got to be in.
Flip the left field. Not a lot of room out there, but enough for Jock Peterson. And the inning is over. Leadoff home run from Ryan Healy, but he sits him down in order after that.
So big news on the field right now, but some bigger news off the field if you're a Dodger fan trying to get to Dodger Stadium. Elon Musk of Tesla fame announcing plans for a high-speed underground transportation system with the Boring Company that could potentially get Dodger fans, you guys, to the stadium quickly and safely by avoiding some freeway traffic. The Dodgers have publicly said, of course, they're in favor of any project that better serves Dodgers fans. But the way they're talking about this, it's an underground tunnel basically that can get you to Dodger Stadium in 4 minutes versus the 1 hour that it takes some fans to get to the stadium. I am on board, but some people are going to have to try it first.
Sounds good. Sweet. Ball one on Brian Dozier to start this fifth.
I'm like 1 hour to 4 minutes. I'm just going, wait a minute, 4 minutes, the hour, how far in coverage for 4 minutes? So like that's pretty quick.
And the hour is pretty slow.
Right. I'm just going, maybe it's not really an hour from certain places, but listen, it doesn't matter. Any way that you can avoid traffic if there's a project like that, great.
The first thing I think of is how do you build that? Like how do you got a lot of smart people out there coming up with ways to build tunnels under the existing infrastructure. 2-0 pitch, and there for a strike.
I always thought they'd, and I know there's years past they were talking about possibly like a monorail system too. So instead of going under, go above ground.
We should just all get jetpacks.
In due time. I'm sure Elon Musk already has some sort of prototype for that too.
He's got his own jetpack. Yeah. What comes first, jetpacks or robot umpires?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. Yes, Ben Zobrist, he's hoping the umpires.
Not that Ben is opposed to jetpacks, but yeah. LeBlanc's payoff. A leadoff walk for Dozier. Second walk issued by Wade LeBlanc tonight. We were talking about all the trials throughout his career, all the ups and downs, the mostly downs. After an especially bad outing that he had in that 2011 season with San Diego when he got sent down half a dozen times. Made a start at Fenway where he got just rocked and got a voicemail the next morning that they were sending him back to Albuquerque. So he went to the stadium, packed up his bags. Turner shows bunt and takes a strike. Heads outside, hops in a cab. The driver notices the Padres tags on his back, so he starts asking questions. You know, what do you do for the Padres? Finds out he's a pitcher. Driver asks him his name. And the driver says, "Oh yeah, you pitched last night, didn't you? I was there with my buddies." And you know this guy, right, Nomar? I mean, playing all your years in Boston, you know the type of fan.
Yep.
Well, the cabbie says to him, "Wait, you got good stuff. I've got some suggestions for you, though." So here's Wade LeBlanc feeling like the low of lows, having just gotten lit up again, getting sent to Albuquerque, and now he's got the cabbie giving him pitching advice. Well, the cabbie says, "Hey, have you ever thought about taking the glove over your head in your windup?" And Wade said, "You know, at this point, maybe I should listen to anybody with as bad as it's going." Turner pulls a base hit to left to extend his hitting streak to 11 games. So he gets back to Albuquerque and he says, "You know what? I'm going to listen to the cabbie. I'm going to give it a try. Go into the full windup." 7 shutout innings in that first start with the full windup, and to this day he still uses the cabbie's suggestion.
Question is, does he remember the cab number? Does he know who the cabbie was? And every time he comes into Boston, does he leave him tickets?
Or buy him a beer, right? Buy him a green beer. 2 on, nobody out for Machado.
You know, there's so many suggestions. I'm sure he's probably, what are you going to tell me?
Got?
Oh, above my head, huh? That's probably didn't expect that at all. Like, actually, something to think about.
1 ball, no strikes on Machado. And Wade said bigger than the actual suggestion was just that it kind of was a turning point for him to sit there and think, maybe I should be more open to advice. Maybe he wasn't coachable enough yet. He was still young at that point. He'd reached the majors pretty quickly. And he got drafted out of Alabama, reaching the majors 2 years after that. That's a fly ball to left. And routine Ferdinand span. So he became a lot more coachable. There are still some ups and downs in the coming years. Another big stride for him in Japan was seeing the way that pitchers attacked hitters there. Not focusing as much on velocity, focusing more on location and getting the ball off of the barrel of the bat. That's when he started going to the cutter much more. Changing philosophically coming back to the majors. Two on, one out. Cody Bellinger takes strike one. Strike two. Puts that in play. Looked like off the knob of the bat. Rolls foul. It says it 0-2.
For a second there, I wasn't sure if it was off the bat at all. I'm like, did that hit him, or was just looked like right above his hands? Ouch. When I mean ouch, it's like that's where you go. How are your knuckles? Because even if they don't hit your knuckles, just where you hit it in that part of the bat, it hurts. It's jarring.
Bellinger lines the ball to center field. Another base hit. Dozier's headed for the plate. He'll score easily, and the Dodgers lead at 5-1 on Bellinger's second hit of the night.
Really a great job by Cody Bellinger, especially after that ball gets you in on your hands and you're going, gosh, they pounded me in. Are they going to come back in there again? And you have, as a hitter, after you get jammed, you're thinking, do I cheat a little bit? Because I don't want to get jammed again. And you have a tendency to pull off of the ball. Instead, they go away. He stays on it and takes a single up the middle for a nice RBI hit. It was a great adjustment and a great job by Cody Bellinger.
And it looks like that's going to do it for Wade LeBlanc as Scott Service comes out. Already 5 in the bank for the Dodgers. And the runners at first and second. LeBlanc's responsibility. Back to Seattle in a moment. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Get huge savings on a reliable new Camry at Toyota's National Clearance Event. Wade LeBlanc leaves the game having given up 5 runs at least. The runners at first and second his responsibility. Who's in, who's out, brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. This is Christian Bergman.
You can just see that he just got called up from AAA on Wednesday. See what he's been able to do this season. I'm just thinking about what the Dodgers were able to do to get to Bergman. I thought they did an excellent job on LeBlanc, especially after we talked about his last couple of games, how effective he has been. Just an ERA just over 2 over his last few starts. Staying on him, guy who's throwing soft, made him work and got some home runs off of him, long balls, and even produced some runs. It's not over yet.
Turner's at second, Bellinger's at first, Kemp's at the plate, goes after the first pitch. Fly ball slicing to the corner. Haniger a long way to go, and he won't get it. Bounces into the seats, and they'll catch somewhat of a break there. But an RBI double from Matt Kemp, and the Dodgers lead at 6-1. Never mind, they're ruling that an error on Haniger.
I mean, Haniger, I can see that being an error. Yeah, he had a beat on it. He had it. He just misses it. I don't know for a second if he just lost it or what, but that was definitely a ball that he should have caught. At the time, both runners were actually going back. I saw Justin Turner head back to third because he thought it was going to be caught. And then Cody Bellinger, this is Kemp. He's looking at the ball. I'll tell you what you also have to do is make sure you're looking at the ball, but you also have to run with your head up because he could have passed Cody Bellinger easily there. But he did not. He made sure.
We saw Devin Marrero, the Arizona Diamondbacks, lose a home run earlier this year by passing Alex Avila on the base paths at Dodger Stadium. Hernandez fouls it back 1-1. I mean, and for a guy who doesn't hit many home runs, gosh.
Steak dinner will fix that.
Yeah. Infield is in for the Mariners here. The Dodgers up 6-1. Hernandez takes ball 2. PK tonight 0 for 2. Facing a Southern California native here, Christian Bergman from La Cañada. And then was an anteater at UC Irvine. His 2-1 is lifted to left. A sky-high drive that Span settles under on the edge of the warning track. Plenty deep enough to bring home Cody Bellinger. And the Dodgers lead at 7-1 as Hernandez picks up an RBI.
This inning, the Dodgers have done a good job producing a run. We talked about the at-bat by Cody Bellinger. It was a great at-bat driving the ball up the middle. Now capitalizing on an error in right field. Not only did Kike hit that far enough for the sac fly, but also far enough for Kemp to tag from second base and get to third.
With 2 gone, it's Muncy who crushed a 2-run home run his last time up. Takes strike 1. Bergman's 1-1. Tails in for a strike 1 and 2. Rockies already a winner today, 11-5 over Atlanta. That included getting a run against Charlie Culberson, pitched an inning for Atlanta. Hit 93 on the gun. Strike 3 called to finish off Muncy and the Dodgers in the 5th. They get 3 more. We're halfway home. The Dodgers 7, the Mariners 1. In front of the Mariners 7-1, and the Dodgers, Nomar, in 5 innings in this series have matched their run output from the entire San Francisco series.
Yeah, kind of hard to believe where the bats were really silent over that series in San Francisco. They've come out, they've hit the long ball, and they've also done a good job producing runs as well.
Walker Buehler's given up the 1 run on the pretty good piece of hitting from Ryan Healy, but otherwise has looked splendid again.
He has. He had the inning before we had a little bit of struggle, walked a few batters, especially looked like he got a little rattled after that error, that rare error we saw from Brian Dozier where he dropped that pop-up. But he got out of it. Okay, then the next inning gives up a home run on a good pitch, tip your hat, and settled back down.
1 ball, 1 strike on Mitch Haniger. You know, Buehler went through that stretch coming off of the disabled list where he just was not right. Had an ERA above 10 over a 3-start stretch. Haniger hits it foul 1 and 2, and Walker says for the first time in his baseball life his delivery felt so out of whack that he had to go to the video room to try and ID what had gone wrong. He noticed that his hands had gotten out of their normal position. He figures because he was doing nothing but level ground throwing, wasn't throwing off of a mound while he was coming back from the injury, and they just kind of migrated out of place. Ball misses badly, and it's 2-2. But he and Rick Honeycutt put their heads together, fixed the delivery, changed the curveball, which has replaced the changeup as his primary off-speed pitch. That's the 2-2 fly. And blazes a fastball in there to get Haniger. Strikeout number 7 of the night for Buehler. 1 gone in the 5th.
Well, fans, you can start your weekend off with a bang when the Dodgers begin their 3-game series with the San Diego Padres Friday, August 24th. Stay after the game and take your place on the field to enjoy Friday night fireworks set to songs selected by the Dodger players, courtesy of Denny's. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
What's that playlist going to sound like, you think?
And that's, I was thinking the same thing. That's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm wondering the question is whose playlist?
Yeah, which
do they
player?
pick,
We
right?
got an eclectic mix down there. Cano flies out to Bellinger. 2 out.
As we're having a look at Walker Buehler, and you were talking about the adjustments he made and working on with Rick Honeycutt. I mean, just Rick Honeycutt being in that Dodger uniform and being a coach for so long, and just flies under the radar, but has been so important and so vital to so many in this Dodgers pitching staff. I mean, as a young kid like Walker Buehler starting your career, you're so grateful you have someone like him that you can turn to and who can recognize those little things and get you back on track.
And it's amazing how many pitchers give credit to Rick Honeycutt for significant changes.
And what's amazing too is, one, you can say, well, he was great at finding some of my flaws for my mechanics, whatever it may be, on breaking balls, pitching, holding it. And then you hear so many pitchers also give him so much credit about, wow, my preparation or my game plan and being able to execute, thanks to him. It's not one-dimensional. It's not all mechanical. It's everything when it comes to pitching.
These two can relate, both SEC guys. Walker, of course, Vanderbilt. Rick Honeycutt, Tennessee. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Nelson Cruz. Rick wasn't just a pitcher, though, at Tennessee. He won an SEC batting title as a first baseman there. A 2-2. Missed by much. Full count. Got him swinging. Bookend strikeouts on a 1-2-3 fifth for Buehler. His first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Got one of the 3 Dodger home runs tonight. We look back on it on our top tier play brought to you by Arco.
Well, Dave Roberts has said that he's liked the way Grandal has been swinging the bat from the right side. We talked about coming into this season how Grandal made a conscious effort to swing better from the right side. Puts a beautiful swing on that one. And now facing the righty is flipped around back to the left side.
He's also walked tonight. The 29-year-old. Now hits bouncing ball to the lone man on the left side of the infield. That's Seager for out number 1. Here's Peterson. First pitch breaking ball. It's 0-1. 0-2. Filthy pitch, fades back in, 2 up and 2 down.
That one had some serious movement on it. I mean, it started off a ball. It looked like it was going to be a ball on the inner half to Jock Peterson. And it didn't just fade over the inside corner. It faded, looked like on the outer part of the plate.
Dozier to the plate with 2 gone. Bergman delivers and Dozier takes a ball. Ryan tonight 0 for 2. Walked and scored in the 5th. Dodgers got a run in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and 3 in the 5th. Now Dozier sends a towering fly ball to center field. That is caught by Cameron Maben to finish him off. 1-2-3. Finish. Walker Buehler, another fantastic start tonight. He's got 8 Ks, has given up just a solo home run through 5 innings.
And really the trouble inning for him was the 3rd. That's when he found himself in trouble, had the bases loaded and still buckled down, was able to get out of it even after an error. And the next inning, yeah, he gave up a run, and that was a home run. But like we talked about earlier, Healy did a good job getting a ball in the outer half and staying on it. You got to tip your hat to that one, put a good swing on it. But after that, 1, 2, 3, settle down, see if he can carry it over this inning.
Against the heart of the Mariners order, Denard Span swinging at a first pitch breaking ball, and he gets the curve to get out number 1. Buehler now in his last 4 starts has gone 24 2/3, given up 4 runs, struck out 29, and walked only 7. One out for Kyle Seager. Strike 1. Quickly 0-2. That's ball one.
Making some good pitches, just working it. There's really no pattern to Walker Buehler. He can go out there, throw you the breaking ball, saw that pitch before to try to finish you off, and then he'll climb the ladder with 97. He's hit some of the corners with that fastball in the outer half.
That's another 1-2 fly, and Seager fouls it again. Pulls it down the line, foul.
They wanted that ball in. And he ended up missing his spot, but he was still able to get that up. Seager did a good job getting to that, because that's been a pitch that a lot of hitters have been swinging and missing up in the zone. So he wanted it in, but he gets it at the top of the zone. So he still missed his spot, but he missed it in a good spot.
Across 90 pitches now as he deals a 2-2, and Seager puts it in play. Dozier slides to get it. That became his signature play in Minnesota. First time that he's flashed that in a Dodger uniform. Dipping down to a knee to stab it with a backhand.
Okay, so he drops a pop-up, right, which you don't see, but then he makes this play that just makes it look way too easy. As he slides, gets to it, sliding on the knee and popping up. The key, there's something that often gets overlooked when you make a play like that, is the knee he's able to slide on. Usually when you slide, like I couldn't make that play because I slide with my right knee underneath me as compared to my left knee. So, and you usually slide, and body tells you to slide one way. Like if I'm going in the second, I'm dropping my right knee underneath me as compared to my left knee. I couldn't just switch if you told me to switch to my left knee. A lot of guys just can't do that. So the key is that he knows he can slide on that knee, so his right foot's down to plant and throw. It was a great play.
Now Ryan Healy, whose home run is accounted for the Mariners scoring, hits a weak pop fly to Max Muncy at first to finish the inning. That's 9 in a row retired by Buehler since Healy's home run. He's got a 7-1 lead in the 7th inning. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Dodgers' first trip to Seattle in 6 years and trying to start it with a win. They lead it 7-1 to the 7th. Joe, Nomar and Alana with you as Justin Turner takes ball one from Christian Bergman. Turner's extended the hitting streak to 11 games tonight with a single his last time up. That's a strike. What a ballpark this is, huh?
I've always enjoyed coming here. Talked about just not only enjoying the city, but also just this ballpark, the atmosphere, the way it is, the way it plays. The infield was a good infield. And what I also liked was I know it was going to play here because when it rained, they had a cover.
Yeah.
And I mean it's a cover because this isn't an enclosed. This is an outdoor stadium with a cover. It's not enclosed. There's no windows that are closed.
It's Turner's second hit of the night.
So if it was cold, even when they put the roof over the stadium, it was still cold.
Yeah, it's not a park known for its home runs. The Dodgers have 3 of them tonight, and you had one of your longest as a big leaguer here.
That I remember. I hit one to left field that I was like, okay, I got all that. That was one I remember. I believe it was a 3-0 pitch that I ended up. I got the green light and I swung, and yeah, I knew it. I didn't really want to peek and see, but I kind of glanced up just a little bit to see how far it went, but it was a good one.
Manny Machado pulls his hands in on ball one. He hit one tonight, but it was not Nomar territory.
No, listen.
Yours is up by those flags, right?
Not that it was in the seats, but it was a few rows in front of those flags.
I know you've hit one or two over the green monster. Had you hit it over that, that would have been strong.
Yeah, I'm not hitting one out of the stadium. The only stadium is the green monster because of how close that is.
3-0.
And maybe the other one is over there in Chicago when you can hit out in the street over there with the wind blowing out. That's what I'm going to need, the wind blowing out in order to do that.
.30 green light. Machado sends a back-spinning drive. Forget about it. His second of the night.
What fans may not know is that these new batting helmets that they have, they can actually hear our broadcast inside there. So they heard us talking about swinging 3-0 and how you can really drive the ball out of the ballpark on a 3-0 count. And you stay on a ball like that for Manny Machado. Yeah, that man, if he happens to pull one, can hit one out of this stadium. Instead, though, he stays on that and he drives it to left center for a second home run. Pretty swing.
His second and the team's fourth. Strike one on Bellinger. Yeah, technology these days.
Yeah, it's amazing. They tell us that. We hear it so many times, right, Joe? Oh, I heard you guys talking about me.
Yeah.
When I was up.
It's quite flattering that that's the station they choose. One and two. Able to stay alive. Outburst tonight. 7 runs total in the 3 games against San Francisco, and 9 here in game 1 against the Mariners. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Series continues tomorrow, and one of the hottest pitchers in the National League, Rich Hill, will take the ball against Erasmo Ramirez as Dylan Floro gets ready to come in. And finally, Nomar, a game where the bullpen can breathe easy a little bit.
Yes, we talked about that. We talked about, and when you lose your closer, and a great closer such as Kenley Jansen, yes, you talk about, okay, the bullpen has to pick him up, but not only just the bullpen, the entire team need to help the bullpen out. And what's great when we've heard this Dodger team, and they talk about the stretch that they've had and some of the losses, late inning losses that they've had, they have never pointed any fingers. They have said we win as a team, we lose as a team, and they've all taken responsibility for those struggles.
Full count. Bellinger earns the walk. Calmly watching that one break into the dirt.
MLB.TV is now available at a lower price. For $49.99, watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer.
Kemp 1 for 3, although he hit one into the corner that was ruled an error his last time. It did bring home a run off of the glove of Mitch Haniger. Talked about the Dodgers needing him to come alive in this stretch against left-handed pitching, and he's certainly shown signs of coming out of it. Here he hits a high fly ball to deep center field. Has Kemp gotten it off? You bet he has. Another long ball for the Dodgers. The 5th tonight. And Matt Kemp's 200th in Dodger blue.
We were talking about some of the struggles some of these Dodger hitters were having. We saw talked about the offensive struggles over their last few series, not putting up some runs. Matt Kemp has been finding himself in a struggle. We talk about little things that can get you going. That can get someone going really quick. A pretty swing like that. Not only just squaring up in the results of hitting a home run, but also where you hit it. Matt Kemp knowing his strengths. We talk about it's right center and center field. And as we look at Bellinger, watch Bellinger here. He stops. He wasn't sure. He saw him leap up, and he was just trying to make sure that the ball went over and not caught.
And you got to get moving, make sure Matt doesn't pass you. He's waiting so long. Now Hernandez yanks a line drive base hit to left. Now he's got a hit to go along with his RBI and a sacrifice fly. Dodgers pouring it on. 11 runs on 11 hits tonight. James Pazos, the latest to loosen. Once he's got one of the 5 long balls. How about a 27 home run season for Max Muncy? Roller to second. Cano starts it to Seager. That's all they get.
That's exactly what they expected when they called Max Muncy up.
Yeah.
Said, oh, he'll hit at least 27. I say it over and over again. Next man mentality. Capitalize on opportunities as we have a look at how the Dodgers offense has been putting some runs up so far in this game. A lot of ones up there.
How about
in
this?
A good way.
Rick Krajewski, our statistician, texting us from afar. This is the 18th 5-home run game in the National League this year. 6 of those 18 games have been from the Dodgers. So 6 5-home run games for the Dodgers, 12 for the rest of the National League. Ball on a strike.
Well, we know they definitely can slug. Dave Roberts has talked about. We know they've relied on the long ball a lot throughout the course of the season. But I also look at that 5th inning where they ended up putting 3 runs. Yes, there was an error in that inning.
That's knifed to short. That'll be able to play.
But they were also producing runs. That sac fly did some little things, the situational hitting to put some of those runs up.
Box score brought to you by Kona Brewing Company, and in a stretch where the Dodgers have played a lot of nail biters and too often come out of the wrong end of it. This has been a welcome sight. 5 home runs, producing an 11-1 lead to the bottom of the 7th.
The bats came out, but also the people who hit those home runs. It's good to see for Dodger fans. You got Matt Kemp hitting that last home run, but also seeing Max Muncy hit one. Yasmani Grandal actually has been struggling as of late as well. Him getting one. Well, a lot of Dodger hitters that have found themselves in some slumps here now, getting big home runs, putting some big swings on the board.
Night is over for Walker Buehler, who had passed 90 pitches in the game. Knock on wood, well within hand at this point. Dylan Floro comes on with a 10-run lead.
I mean, look at Dylan Floro. Over his last 30 innings pitched, his limited batters to just a 165 average.
He'll face Maben, Zunino, and Gordon, bottom third of the Mariners order. Maben 1 for 2 against Buehler tonight to extend his hitting streak to 10 games. Inside the bag, Muncy over to cut it off and get Maben for the first out of the 7th.
It's a nice play by Max Muncy. That's not an easy play because it was off the end of the bat and it had some spin on it. Especially when that first one, that's when you really have to stay with it. You just can't assume that the ball is going to bounce normal as he's ranging to his left and he stays with it. Yeah, you get the first half, but even with that spin, you really are nervous about that second one. He stays with it and gets the out.
Floro now against Zunino, who was once the 3rd overall pick in the draft out of Florida. Swings and misses, 0-1. And he's turned into a very powerful hitter, a lot of home runs the last few years, but a lot of strikeouts, and that's what he's done both times tonight. Top of the zone, strike 2. Because he missed his spot, doesn't get the call from home plate umpire Mike Estabrook, and it's ball 1. Two out.
Well, fans, you can head to Dodger Stadium Monday, August 20th at 7:10 p.m. when the Dodgers open a 3-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Dodger-branded knit cap. Compliments of United Healthcare. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
And an 11-1 game in the 7th. It's D. Gordon. A lot of Dodger fans here tonight, and more coming tomorrow, according to Alana. Pantone 294 going to have several sections of the stadium claimed. Gordon first pitch swinging, bounces to Muncy. Floro with a lightning quick 7th. 11-1 to the 8th. Check into the studio for a preview of Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.
All right, thanks, Joe. 5 home runs tonight for the Dodgers, and the 11 runs so far. That's more than they scored in their 4 previous games combined, Jerry.
Yeah, they were very offensive tonight. Manny, Matt Kemp, Yasmani Grandal. Yep. I'm loving it.
Walker Buehler was pretty good, too. We'll see you guys after the game.
All right, boys, back into that Mariners bullpen. Here's James Pazos, who's having the best year of his career. 2 years in New York with the Yankees, now in his 2nd season in Seattle.
Look at the opponent's batting average, just under 250 against him, and comes at you with just 2 pitches. He's got a fastball slider, with that fastball averaging about 94 miles an hour, and a good sharp slider.
He's got a new catcher. That's Chris Herman that's come in. Jock Peterson will lead the inning off. ball, no strikes. Arizona has the lead against San Diego, a game in the 5th inning. Zach Rosscup getting loose. It's the Diamondbacks 5, the Padres 3, bottom 5. Dodgers will host the Padres next weekend after they host the Cardinals for a few, and that'll be the first games, if you consider the Giants a contender, which borderline I think you have to at this point. Those will be the first games of the second half for the Dodgers against a non-contender. 32 in a row against contending clubs. 2-0 pitch. Ball 3.
They started off, what was it? More over 17? Well, I'm trying to remember the right number where teams
over
better,
500,
better record than them.
Yeah. It's a strike.
But as a player, you don't look at it that way. You don't look at it as, wow, look at these guys' record, or these are contending teams. You're looking at every team can beat you at any moment. Any team, you got to go out there and play your game. You know, you have to go out there and just win ball games.
Peterson walks. 4th one drawn by the Dodgers tonight. Brian Dozier for the 5th time. Brian promised his mom and dad that even if he chased his baseball dreams, he was going to make getting his degree a priority. Went to Southern Miss. He was drafted out of there, but after his first year in pro ball, he went back to school and took his final courses to graduate. Sports marketing degree. Tugs a bouncing ball to 3rd. Seager fires it to 2nd one, and an easy turn for Cano to get Dozier 2 out. Actually, the initial plan going into college for Brian was to study to be a CPA. His dad has his own CPA firm, and Brian's plan was to eventually work there if the baseball thing didn't work out. That was before he took a couple accounting classes and then figured out this ain't for me. Baseball's worked out just fine. Accounting will finish 3rd.
Good choice. Yeah. Well, at least he has somebody that he can count on to do his taxes and for the numbers.
He's got that.
So that's good.
His brother's an accountant now.
Oh, there you go.
With 2 out, Justin Turner. Sort of 2 hits tonight. Improving his average here in August, well above 400. And after a slow start that is to be expected, I guess, when you're coming back from the injury that he came back from, Turner, probably when you break his season down into 2 segments, the second segment, he's been back to the numbers that he was putting up for much of last year, at least in the batting average department. Chopper to the hole, but cut off by Seager. Pazos faces the minimum in the 8th. games here in Seattle. Then it's back home for the Cardinals, who are the hottest team in the National League right now, charging right back into the wild card picture. They won again tonight, beating Milwaukee 5-2. Cardinals have now won 10 of their last 12 games as Zach Rosscup comes on. St. Louis within 5 games of first place in the Central, but they're within a game and a half of the wild card. And just double checking what Philadelphia do. Philadelphia won, so they remain a game and a half back of the wild card. But actually a better record than Milwaukee now. Cardinals are in second in the Central. It's ball one on Mitch Haniger.
We talked about that was the Dodgers are getting down to the wire here in the NL West, that there's a lot of tight National League races going on.
How about the Nationals just finally seems like fading from the picture? All those walk-off losses. St. Louis a big part of that, beating them twice in heartbreaking fashion. Washington now 8 back in the division. 1-2 on Haniger. So it looks like a 2-horse race there, right? Atlanta and Philadelphia. In the Central, Cubs opening up a pretty good gap on Milwaukee. They now lead by 4.5 games, having won 3 in a row. But you got the 3 or 4 team race in the West, and a bunch of teams gunning for the wild card. Soft chopper to Turner at third. Haniger's retired and 0 for 4 tonight.
Yeah, but even, I'll tell you, 4.5 isn't that bad right now. I mean, you look at it, you're August 17th, you still have a whole month. A lot can happen between that, but you're right, and I say that because here they are playing the Seattle Mariners. I know they're only 2.5 coming into this game in the wild card in the AL, but they're 4.5 in the division behind Houston. They have Houston coming in after facing the Dodgers. They just swept them, so they can make some ground up on them.
Robinson Cano with 1 gone. Rosscup comes home and Cano takes ball 1. Yeah, it's one of the things the Mariners have going for them. 7 left with Oakland, 6 left with Houston.
And that's what you want as a team. You want to be able to control your own destiny. You don't want to be down this stretch going, well, we're done playing them. We're so many games we're going to have to be relying on other teams to help you out. Puts it in your hands.
Cano with a high drive right center field. Hernandez track wall, got it. Two gone in the 8th inning.
It's a great job by Kike Hernandez, keeping your eye on the ball and then the wall taking a peek. And you're in an area where this isn't a field you play on often, so knowing the little idiosyncrasies of that, and especially right there in the corner of the wall, that can play with you in the outfield, and he takes a peek, recognizes that, and still stays on the ball for a great catch.
Gordon Beckham pinch hitting for Nelson Cruz and taking strike 1. Doesn't matter where you put Kike defensively. Guy's a highlight reel. His 4th start of the year in right. Heck of a play for out number 2. Dodger pitching now. You go back to the Ryan Healy home run in the 4th inning. Dodger pitching has retired 11 straight since. I'm off by an inning. 14 straight since. And 2 on Beckham, who's just called up tonight with Gene Segura on the paternity list. Best wishes to Gene and his wife. They welcoming a baby tonight. No word on how long he'll use. You're given 3 days on the paternity list, but can come back before if he chooses. Beckham pulls it foul. The Dodgers catch a bit of a break in the timing of that baby. Segura's been one of their best players. Ground ball left side under the glove of Machado. Beckham with a 2-out hit. First base runner since that home run. Denard Span.
Dodgers doing a great job today offensively, obviously putting up the 11 runs. Talk about the bullpen, the struggles they've had over the last 7 games since Kinley. I said this is what they need. Sometimes just coming into a game like this can also help them right their ship too, where they can come in and not have to feel the stress of those high leverage innings, but maybe their lack of confidence a little bit, especially after what they've gone through, to just come in and say, okay, I know I can get outs regardless of the type of stress that's on it. Sometimes they put more pressure on themselves or may not feel the confidence even after those struggles. It allows them to kind of settle down and get back on there and gain that confidence.
It's just unbelievable that it's taken 8 games for that to happen. You're following Kenley Jansen.
Well, it's been 8 games where, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's been 7 games straight where there hasn't been one where it's just not going to be a high leverage situation for the bullpen. Right. It's all of them have been exactly that. And I thought the bullpen, you look at the walk-off win that they had against the Giants in the last game. Bullpen did a good job keeping them in that game so they can eventually get that walk-off.
Yep. Two from Rosscup to Span, and he got him swinging for a scoreless 8th. Let's go to the 9th in Seattle. All Dodgers in this series opener. Time for Bill for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. 2 of the 5 home runs tonight have come off of the bat of Manny Machado. He hit a solo shot to left center, and then a 2-run shot just to the left of dead center.
said a few games ago where he was swinging a hot bat, was lining out, wasn't getting the results, but he was squaring it up, lining out, feeling good, and then he slowly started getting some hits, and it was just a matter of time before those hits were going over the wall.
We got cotton candy, and we have a position player pitching. Andrew Romine. Nothing new for him.
Nothing new for baseball now. What we've seen this year. We've seen an awful lot of position players pitching this season.
Manny Machado greets him, takes ball one. Well, we've talked about a couple times. It's kind of on a basic level. Position players have replaced mop-up man on the modern roster. Teams aren't carrying that 25th man that just comes in and cleans things up when the game is out of hand like this. It's a waste of a roster spot when you can have position players go out and do this. Popped up, short right. Cano over the shoulder. Andrew Romine once actually played all 9 positions in one game. Final weekend last season while he was with the Tigers. 5th player in Major League history to do that.
It's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. 2 more hits tonight for Bellinger.
I have no doubt in my mind that the Dodgers have somebody who can do that. Kike Hernandez. So make a great play out there in right field. We have seen him pitch this year.
Yeah, the only thing he's not done is catch.
And Dave Roberts says, isn't he their emergency catcher?
And there's a movement on social media. Hashtag let Kike catch. 2-1.
Let Kike catch, the tight pants, the stirrups, put on the gear. There's a lot of movements when it comes to Kike Hernandez and what their requests are.
You like the shirt that he's designed or had designed? You see the new one with him and Chase Utley on the front?
Is that the best dad ever one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shirt.
Looks like a father-son photo.
Really good shirt.
High pop-up. Romine called off, forgot for a moment what his job is at this point. Seager makes the catch. He's an infielder by trade. You don't blame him. Seager's saying, get out of the way, Mr. Pitcher.
He's like, you're a pitcher. He's like, no. On paper, I'm not a pitcher.
on my paper tonight,
he is.
He is.
Right.
Yeah. Yours too, if you're still doing it over there.
No, I am. I see that. I got to write them in. I just haven't wrote them in yet, so it's not official.
Still an infielder.
Yeah.
Kemp homered his last time. Takes ball one. We talked about it earlier, but Matt just trying a million things to try and recapture that good feeling. Take it into the game. We'll see. And maybe he found something tonight, crushing a ball out of here to center field.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. Just be Captain Obvious.
2-1.
Curious of Andrew Romine's average fastball. Obviously, you see him he's not letting it go, cutting it loose, but I'm sure his average fastball is around Wade LeBlanc's average fastball when he started. 87.
Yeah, that's a notch above. Loses Kemp, who's aboard for the 3rd time tonight. always fun. Kike Hernandez. Line to left field. And a nice sliding catch by Bernard Span. Scoreless inning for Andrew Romine. Some levity for the Mariners in an otherwise ugly night for the home team. Runs tonight. Zach Rosscup trying to pitch the final 2 innings of this game. Mariners' lone run came on a home run from Ryan Healy in the 4th. That is it. Just 1 run over 6 innings for Walker Buehler. Nothing against the bullpen over 2 so far. Seager, Healy, and Maben coming up in the 9th. They're in Seattle, which, did you know, was originally called New York?
I did not know that.
I didn't know either until it turned into a blowout and I started Googling stuff to talk about.
And that's what popped up?
Yeah.
That was at the top of the Google search.
Ball one on Seager.
Are you sure you plugged in the right search?
Yeah, no, it was a group of settlers who were originally from New York State. And so they just went with that name and soon changed it after a Native American chief from the area named Seattle. 1-1. Boeing was founded here, which I think is pretty common knowledge. But Boeing initially was a boat company. William Boeing was fascinated by airplanes, yes, but boats as well. Fly to shallow right field. Brian Dozier settles under this one for the first out of the night.
So he wanted to cover both air and sea.
He had it. World War II was a big step for him in his business. Starbucks, founded here.
What's that?
Heard of it? Coffee. Yeah.
I love it. You walk 5 steps and there's another one here.
Oh my goodness.
It's great.
One out in the 9th inning. Ryan Healy, who has the 1 run tonight on that home run, is 23rd of the year. Takes a strike.
You walk into a Starbucks here, and if there's a long line, you say, no, just go across the street.
Right. You know, the crazy thing that you don't really think about, but before Starbucks, there were really no such thing as coffee shops in the United States. Howard Schultz, who's one of the founders, went to Italy, saw the concept there, and brought it here to the United States. It wasn't until the late 80s that they were around. People didn't just go for coffee. And now it's just part of the culture that you don't even think about.
I'm trying to think where people would go. It'd be like donuts. They're like donuts and coffee.
Right. It's something you'd get with,
Right.
you know, as an after dinner drink, or get it with your breakfast. But to actually go and meet for coffee didn't happen until Starbucks started opening storefronts.
Well, there would be like cafes that you would go to.
No,
Just
not in the United States. Spent the day at the Starbucks Reserve Roastery. Learned all this history about it. Didn't even need Google for this one.
So you got the Reserve. They have a Reserve coffee.
A bunch of different.
And you can buy it in there.
Uh-huh.
And is it only there, or are there other places around where you can get their like Reserve roast?
You can get them other places, and they're actually opening up a few other Reserve roasteries around the world. A few more opening up in the United States soon. So as far as the overall experience of doing that, and if you do come to Seattle, it's a fun thing to do. Ross Cup strikes out Healy, and the Mariners are down to their final out. Good stuff from Zach Rosscup tonight. Gave up just the one hit. Part of that scoreless 8th inning, and has retired the first 2 here in the night.
You can get a cup of coffee, and then you can also go catch fish here in Seattle too.
Can go up in the Space Needle.
You can do that.
Strike one on Maben. When you say catch fish, you mean go to the market and literally
catch the fish as they're tossing and throwing at you. Yes. Put an apron on, and there he goes.
Yep.
I have done that.
Strike 2. Hard to catch. Slippery.
It was slippery, but it wasn't hard to catch.
Heavy enough where it just kind of sticks.
Exactly, but it was slippery. I think because you put that in your mind, so you're really focused on holding on to that.
Same time, same place tomorrow. Rich Hill for the Dodgers and Erasmo Ramirez, who's moved over from the bullpen for Seattle. Felix Hernandez no longer in the starting rotation. 7:10 LA time. Plenty more Dodger blue expected in the house. Big bouncer left side. Turner cuts it off. Throws to get Maben, and that's that. All Dodgers in the series opener as the offense comes to life. 11-1 behind 5 home runs.
After about 7 games where the offense was really just struggling and trying to find their way, well, they bust out in a big way here in Seattle. The long ball hits all around, up and down through the lineup. Every person in the lineup reached base. So it was a good offensive night for the Dodgers.
2 of the 5 home runs came from that man.